Hey girls, today's tutorial is how to curl your hair with or without extensions, whether you have long hair, short hair, whatever type of hair you have. At the beginning of the video, I will show girls who do have clip-in extensions, they're new to clip-in extensions or they're interested in getting them, how to actually clip them in properly. If you do not have clip-in extensions and you're not interested in ever getting them, just fast forward through the beginning of the video because I promise you'll want to see the rest. At the bottom of the tutorial, I will list all of the products that I use in my hair in this video, and I will also list some other ones that you may like. I will also list some other hair tips that may interest you. If you have any questions or there are any other tutorials that you'd like to see me do, just let me know. Thanks. What we're gonna do is depending on what kind of extensions you have, they're gonna come with different pieces. They're gonna come with some like this that are gonna be second to the smallest. These are actually gonna be the smallest. Mine comes with 4 of these. I put one on this side when I'm done, one on the other. But the next size you're gonna use on the first 2 bottoms. And you can kind of put them anywhere you want. This is just the way that I do it. You're gonna pull up most of your hair, not all of it. Some people like to use a comb and go straight across. I've been doing it for a while now, so I don't have to anymore. And if you're in a hurry and you're a mom, you probably don't have time to get that perfect with it. As you can see, I just have a little bit of hair in the back. I'm gonna put the rest up with a clip. Oh, and also the hair products that I used, you don't have to use any. One of my favorites, and it's actually just a drugstore, it's Loreal Boost It, and it puts a lot of volume in your hair. It's a mousse. Put it on when it's wet, blow dry it, and it'll take longer to blow dry your hair. It puts a lot of body in it, and it also helps the curls stick. I don't know why, but if you have problems with your hair staying curled, this is your go-to. Now what I'm gonna do is make sure you have a teasing comb. I just like the soft black bristle. You can use a comb, whatever you like. And I'm gonna spray a little bit of hairspray in the back. Bedhead is a good choice. One and only Argan oil volumizing hairspray is my favorite, and I will actually use this when we're done to fix the hair. This you can actually brush out, and it still feels like you've got hairspray in it, and it gives it a lot of volume. I use this a lot if I'm not wearing extensions. What I'm gonna use right now is the Elnett Loreal. Spray a little bit right in the line, and you're gonna tease at the top where you're going to apply your extension. Next, you're gonna have your clips. They're gonna face your hair, and they're just snaps. So you're gonna put it in where you just teased it because it will help it stay in longer. Snap it in. You're gonna pull down a little bit more hair. I would say go up about 1 inch. It just kind of depends on your head and how much hair you have. I go up about 1 inch. You wanna make sure that you at least have enough room for the clip to fit in without clipping over the other one. Pull the rest up. And it doesn't have to be perfect because no one's gonna see what's underneath. Spray more hairspray. Tease. Okay, and these are the ones that come with 4. 2 of them are going to go next. You can either use these next, or mine comes with another one just like the last one I put in. I just do it either way. I'm gonna put the one just like the other one in now. And a lot of this is just really repetitive. Just keep on going up. And to me, I like clip-ins because if I'm in a hurry, it's a lot easier just to straighten my hair, you know, because my hair is shorter a little bit than my extensions, and it's not as thick. It's a little easier to fix. And they're not that expensive. You can find decent quality clip-in extensions for under $100. If you're local, I can tell you a few places where you can get them for pretty cheap. Mine are less than $100, and as much as I use them, I get new ones about every 4 months. I'm really rough on them. Sometimes I color them, I wash them, I curl them a lot, I straighten them, I tease them, I brush them. So I can't go quite as long with the same ones. Okay, now I'm gonna put these smaller ones in, and I'm gonna put one kind of closer to the side and the other one on the other side. So you want to tease a little further out than the back of your head on this one. I usually do one on the side, one in the middle on the back, and one on the other side. Make sure you brush these out first. And sometimes, like if I wore them the night before and they're still really curly, I will actually straighten them a little bit. Now, another trick too, if you're gonna curl your hair, do not straighten it first. Only blow dry it. Do not straighten it, because it'll be a lot harder on your hair to actually keep the curl, and you'll have to keep the curling iron on it longer. Okay, now you've got this really long piece. You don't want to go up too far, because you're still going to put some on the sides on the top. And also in the back, you want to have probably a good 3 inches of your hair to cover up the last extension, because you don't want people to be able to see that extension. And if your hair is close to the color of mine are number 2. Always make sure you have enough hair in the back to cover them up. And that's another thing about teasing them. When you tease your hair when you have extensions, it helps cover up the mistakes. And that one actually has 3 clips, so I'm gonna tease just like I did with the smaller ones. One on each side, one in the middle and the back. Okay, now we're gonna let this down. Depending on what side your hair goes to. But you don't want to get it too close to the part, because you want it to cover it up. Mine's going to part this way, so you definitely don't want to put it up in here. You want to go further down. And in the back, I'll always pull a little bit up too, just so it's easier to hide it. Okay, and what I've done is I've just used the L'Oreal Boost It Volumizing Mousse. Brushed it through my wet hair, and then I used a blow dryer to dry my hair. I put in my extensions, and here we are. Don't straighten the ends of your hair before you curl it. It'll just make it to where it doesn't curl as easy. I do suggest though, just doing the roots that are going to show. It just looks neater when you curl it, because all the curls go together. I do the roots in the back. Another reason is we're from the South, and it's humid and it's hot, and our hair gets frizzy. So just do the tops, especially your bangs, just the top. Do not do the bottoms of your hair. And then I'll always do these little things that you pull out, you know, when you're wearing a ponytail. There are quite a few different hairsprays I use, just whatever I have on hand. I use a lot of Bedhead. I'll also use the one and only Argan Oil Volumizing Hairspray. It's really, really good to use after you're done curling your hair when you're styling it. And I actually use this a lot when I'm not wearing my extensions, because you can brush it out and it still holds like you never brushed out the hairspray. And it adds a lot of volume to it, because my hair is really fine without the extensions. As you can see, this is real hair and these are the extensions, so there's not that much difference. But my hair is so fine, I like to use them because the bigger the hair, the better, in my opinion, especially if you're going somewhere important. Another one that I like is Loreal Elnett. The smell isn't that great, but it works really, really good. I use just whatever is on hand. So after I have put in my extensions, I don't pull it up and do it in different sections. The only different section that I do is I've got these extensions in. And I like for my top pieces, like if you have layers, and you can, even if you don't have extensions, the top shorter layer, I like to curl separate because it gives it a little more volume. And I'm also using a Hot Tools curling iron and a 1-inch. Okay, so what I like to do is just spray a thin layer of hairspray all over my hair when I get started. Not much. And we'll get our curling iron. And what I do is I like an extra hot curling iron. I use it on the hottest setting. You don't have to, it may burn your hair. Use what's best for your own hair type. I plug it in before I get in the shower. That way by the time I'm done taking a shower and blow drying my hair, putting in my extensions, the curling iron is good and hot. I don't have to sit there and wait on it. So we're gonna take this first piece. Again, not any of your extensions. If you have extensions, not any of your longer layers, just the top layer. And I don't do like most people, you know, that curl away. They'll do it this way, or they'll do it this way. I just curl regular. And I leave just a little bit on the end that's not curled. And one way that I can tell that I've held it on there long enough is I touch the hair, and when it gets unbearable to touch it, that's about the time that I take it off. I don't suggest doing that. That's just the way I do it. Don't burn yourself. But I do like to curl it extra long, longer than most people, just so it'll stick all day. And by the time, you know, it's afternoon or you've been somewhere a few hours, your hair actually looks really good instead of looking worse than it did when you first got there. And I'm going to go around and do all of the top layers first, except for my bangs on the biggest part. And even the back, I just do it the same way. Just a regular curl. There's nothing special. I don't use a fancy special curling iron. I don't curl it a fancy special way. I just curl it. I do make sure the ones on each side, they're all going the same way. That's about the only thing that I... And sometimes I don't even brush the hair before I put it in the curling iron. And this is going to be the last piece that I do on the side. I'm going to save the rest for last. I don't know why I do that. It's habit, and that's the way I do it. And now we're going to get started on the longer pieces, and as you can see, it's kind of long. And what we'll do is you're going to move the pieces that you've already done out of the way, and you're going to start grabbing the extensions or the longer layer in your hair. And again, I'm not curling any kind of special way. I'm just moving it away from my face. And you're going to do pieces like that all the way around. They don't have to be perfect. I do about a 1.5 inch section at a time. and I just hold it on there. Until my fingers can't touch the hair anymore, until it's too hot. You can count, you can do whatever's easiest for you. I don't want you to burn yourself trying to do this. And I just leave just a little bit at the bottom. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. If you do, it'll give it more of that wavy feel when you're done. A lot of times I just wrap it all the way around. And maybe a little too thick. You don't want to do them too thick because then they won't curl as good. And the more hair you have, the bigger the curl. The less hair you have, the smaller the curl. And I like them kind of in between. So I do an inch, inch and a half sections. And another thing, I know people say that your hair curls better if it's dirty. Mine does not, so try that too. Don't always listen, to what works best for most people. Try it the other way too, because mine, if it's dirty, I can't tease it, I can't curl it, I can't do any of that. And another good thing that you could use is a dry shampoo. And the cool thing about a dry shampoo that no one tells you is, it's cheaper than the texturizing dust, and it does the same thing. So if you want to tease your hair and have something to hold it, use the dry shampoo. They actually make some for brunettes that doesn't have the white powder. I just use the one with the white powder and just wipe it in and blow dry it through. And again, I can give you some brands that are really cheap and work really well. Dove is a good one. Dove is probably my favorite dry shampoo to use. And if it pulls at your extensions a little bit, you can always go back in and clip them in a little better. Just try to be careful not to pull on them too much, because if they come all the way out after you've got all of your other ones in, it's going to be a little harder to get them back where they were. And as you can see, it's a lot shorter than what it's going to be when we're done. I just like to curl them a whole lot. And I'll show you what you can do to get rid of all of that curl if you don't want that much. And usually one side of your hair will curl better than the other just because of the way it grows. This side is my difficult side, so I keep the curling iron on this side a little bit longer than I do the other pieces. And if your hair has problems slipping through the curling iron like mine does sometimes and I have to hold it, spray just a tiny bit of hairspray on the curling iron before you do it. You can always go and clean up your curling iron after it is cooled down. And the harder curling iron you have, the less time consuming this is, because I used to use, when I first started doing this, I used a little cheapo $15 curling iron, and it took forever because my hair wouldn't get hot enough, especially with these thick extensions in. This Hot Tools is not that expensive. It's less than $50, and it really helps with the time. And if you just kind of want a wavy look, you don't have to keep it on there as long. Oh, and another trick I can show you for curling your hair a different kind of way. I actually saw this on another tutorial. I'll do it with this piece. Go underneath it and hold it. And then go on top of that piece and hold it. And always, you know, go where the creases are that you see. Oops. This is for more of that beachy feel. And always leave just a little bit at the bottom that's not done. And there's another way to curl your hair. Once you brush it out and everything, it actually looks really good. That is a little more time consuming, but it's really, really cute when it's done. Okay, so it looks like I only have one more long piece and then I can finish my bangs that I was doing. And this one piece may not curl as good being that I did it a different way. And this is actually the time to plug in a straightener if you have one. And I'll show you another trick. And again, on this side, you're curling away from your face, but you're just not doing it the traditional way that everyone else does it. And I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my straightener. And actually, I'm gonna straighten this one piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and curl my bangs right here. And this one, you don't have to curl as long because you don't want this to look really curly. You just kind of want this to naturally swoop. See, it's just a little. This one, you can curl a little more. My theory is the closer, because I go around and work my way back up, the closer you get to your bangs, the less time you want to spend with your hair on the curling iron. This should be hot enough. Let me straighten this one piece that I was showing y'all how to curl. And I don't go all the way up to the top just because I don't like it that curly. I like for there to be a natural, which which if anyone has naturally curly hair like that, please let me know because I'd be jealous. That piece wasn't curled real good. Okay, and if you have these little wispies down here, you know, that you pull out when you pull your hair in a ponytail that are still straight, kind of go around those without burning yourself. Because that will stick out when you fix it if there are any straight pieces that you didn't do. And here's one little piece down here that needs to be curled a little more. Okay, and sometimes what happens is that curling iron gives a crease. Don't uncurl your hair, just kind of go back over that, especially in the back. And on your bangs. And I usually will spray this, and this is when I use the Garnier oil. And I'll usually go, you know, finish my makeup or get dressed, whatever I need to do, and then I'll come back and fix it. But just for this, I'm gonna go ahead and brush it out. Now, if you have extensions, make sure you're not brushing the extensions all the way down when you're brushing the top part. Always brush the top first, and then I come back down and I hold the hair and brush the extensions. Now, since your hair is curled so much, you can curl straight through it and it's not gonna brush out. Now, those extensions at the top may be a little loose now. Go back in and make sure that they are tight so they don't fall out. No one wants their weave falling out. Okay, and as you can see, it's a little too curly. So, you go in lightly and fast with your straightener and go over it. And it'll take away some of the curl without messing it up. And it's still just a little curly. And don't do it too much, like if you're planning on being somewhere all day, you know, like at work or a barbecue or whatever, because I'm telling you, by the time you're there 3 or 4 hours, your hair looks great, especially in the humidity. So if you're planning on being somewhere a long time, don't straighten it a lot. I'm mainly just straightening a lot now so I can show you what it'll look like when you're done. Okay. And I like to use a texturizing powder if I'm going somewhere. If not, you can just kind of tease the sides and be done with it. But I have a double crown in the back too. It looks like a big cowlick. So I like to cover that up. And it does not take much of this. One of these lasts me about 4 months. A little goes a very, very long way. This one is the Ulta brand. Tony and Guy has one. Big Sexy Hair has one. There are a few different, there's actually a cheap one. The Got To Be brand has one. I can't find it a lot of places anymore. But they work wonders. And again, if you can't find these, use a dry shampoo. It doesn't work quite as well, but it does the same thing. Now, I'll start with the back first. Oh, hang on. Okay. I'll start with the back first and I'll pull up about 1.5 inch, 2 inch spot. And I lightly dust the root, very lightly. And I shake it and I tease. I tease more than most people. Be gentle on your hair. And then I'll pull up another piece about the, I go all the way to the back extension. If you're not wearing extensions, just go probably 3 or 4 inches back. And everybody does it different. You don't have to do it exactly like this. And most hairdressers are probably rolling over the way I'm treating my hair, but that's just the way I do it. And I'll pull up another section in the front. Oh, got a little much. And this stuff is kind of hard to wash out and it's hard to put your fingers through. So if you're going for the natural, you know, just rolled out of bed and have perfectly curly hair, don't put any of that in it because you're not going to be able to put your fingers through it. This is for if you want it to stay in place. I do put a little right here. If you have extensions, do not get it in your extensions because you'll have to wash them. It's very, very hard to work with. Okay, we've got some crazy hair going on. And everybody's hair is different. I mean, no one really teases the same way or does it the same way. No one parts their hair the same way. This way, just kind of do it however you want to. Don't brush through your tease. If you don't tease your hair and you don't know how, don't brush through it. You're just lightly going over it. And then I kind of go back in with my fingers and try to now you can tone this down some. If you want, tone it up some, however you want to do it. Now you're going to spray your hair. And that was hair curling. If there are any more tutorials that you'd like to see or learn, shoot me an email, Facebook message, whatever. Let me know what you want to see and we'll get them done.